bacon and eggs in a casserole. Hey, Chef Dez coming at you from my kitchen again, corporate chef of BC Egg. Hey, we're gonna make the classic bacon and eggs in a breakfast casserole format. So this is awesome because you can make it up the night before, pop it in the fridge, and then those busy mornings, take it out, bake it off, and you're done. And you got bacon and eggs on a busy morning. It's fantastic, and the flavor profile is top notch. Wait till you see how easy this is. So we're gonna start with some bread. So I have 5 slices here of standard loaf bread. Anywhere from 4 to 6 slices is fine. And what I want you to do is cut it into quarters, okay? So take it, cut them in half, and then turn it, and then cut them in half again. So you have quarters all the way through. We're gonna take a 9x9 baking pan. And this one is non-stick, but I spray it anyway just to be safe. So it comes out really easy. And then we're gonna take those bread cubes, we'll call them bread cubes, why not? And we're just going to layer them in there. So what I do is I do a row of 4, and then I just slightly stagger them, okay? And going across the pan. You can use a 7x11" pan instead if you want. That will work great. I would then go with the 6 slices of bread, but you'll see this is just so easy no matter which way you do it. All right. I just give it a little press down and our pan is ready to go. Then we're gonna cut up some bacon. So I have 4 slices of thick bacon. I want you to use thick bacon because we want the bacon to be really prevalent in the casserole. If you're gonna call it a bacon and egg casserole, you need those 2 ingredients to shine in this dish. And all I'm gonna do is just cut them into like 1/4" pieces. And as you do that, obviously with each slice, they're gonna fall apart like that. So I'm just gonna go through and do that to all 4 of these slices. This is gonna create nice big pieces of bacon in our casserole. All right, then we're gonna take a frying pan and we're just pop that bacon into the frying pan. Let's go over to the stovetop. All right, medium to medium high heat, somewhere around that area. I want you to cook the bacon until it becomes nice and crisp. We want that texture in there. So we're looking for the flavor of the bacon. We're looking for the visual of seeing the bacon in the dish, but we want the nice crunchy texture of the bacon in here as well. Because you're gonna be pouring over an egg custard, it's gonna be baking with all the egg and the milk and stuff in it. So we want this to maintain a little bit of texture. So we're just gonna let that go and we'll check back with it until, like I say, until it's crispy. While we're waiting for that bacon to cook up, I'm going to make up my egg mixture. So what I have here are 6 large BC eggs. Always remember that every single large BC egg has 14 key nutrients, all 9 essential amino acids, 6 grams of the highest quality protein you can get. And 1 large egg, it's only 80 calories. So what we're gonna do is, I like to use a mixing bowl that has a spout. It's easier to pour the mixture over our pan when we're done. So we're gonna crack all 6 of these BC eggs and put them in there. I can start to hear the sizzle of the bacon, makes me hungry. Let's take those 6 large BC eggs. We're gonna add 1½ cups of milk to those and a ½ teaspoon of salt for our seasoning. And we're just gonna take a whisk and whisk this up. You want a nice thorough mix to this, okay? And we can just set this aside now. Let's go check on the bacon. You just have to stir it occasionally, okay? Like I say, we're looking for this to be crisp. Medium to medium high heat will be great, and just let it go. We'll come back when it's done, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, let's have a look at this bacon. Yeah, this is perfect. Look at that, nice and crispy, and all that beautiful bacon fat has been rendered from the bacon. This is exactly what we want. So temporarily, I'm just gonna shut off the heat, and what we're gonna do is take a slotted spoon. What I do is I tilt the pan. I want to get the bacon out. I'll still leave the bacon fat in there. We have an important use for that bacon fat. So I'm just going to take it with my slotted spoon and then just gently scatter it over the dish. You don't have to be too particular right now. We can go back and adjust the bacon pieces once they've cooled a little bit, but we want to get them out of the pan. Now put the pan back on the heat. We're going to again go medium to medium high, and to that bacon fat we're now going to brown 1 cup of sliced mushrooms. This won't take as long as the bacon, okay? So just keep an eye on it, and again, just stirring occasionally. And what I'm gonna do now is just adjust these bacon pieces a little bit. You wanna make sure that you get these nice bacon pieces in every single bite of this casserole. To that, we're also going to add, at this point, a 1/4 cup of grated cheddar cheese. Again, just pay a little bit of attention to making sure that the cheese is scattered everywhere. We're going to be putting more cheese on at the end, but for now we want some inside the casserole. Remember to keep an eye on your mushrooms. And again, we're just looking for these to go brown, which we're almost there. All right, there we have them. They look beautiful. So same procedure, temporarily turn off the heat. We're going to use that same slotted spoon. Again, I want to rescue these mushrooms from that bacon fat because we still have one more use for that bacon fat. And then again, on our dish, gently just scatter them around. And again, we can adjust still. We'll have an opportunity to do that, but for now we need to get them out of the pan. And what the mushrooms do, they just add an extra layer of complexity to this dish. It makes everything just taste so good. Back to the stovetop. Turn on the heat once again. Let's go medium high this time. And what I have here is 1 cup of thawed frozen hash browns. You know, you can buy the bag of hash browns. That's 1 cup of them, but they're thawed, okay? And we're going to brown those in the bacon fat. Just keep an eye on them. You don't want them completely brown like the bacon and the mushrooms. You just want to see where they're just starting to get a little bit brown. Otherwise, they're going to get too crunchy once they're baked in the oven as well. So we just want to get a little bit of caramelization on them and some of that bacon flavor. You see what we're doing here, right? We're taking the bacon, because it's called a bacon and egg casserole, and we're taking that bacon flavor by adding bacon to this, but also using that bacon fat to then brown the mushrooms and also get that flavor in the hash browns that are going to go on top. Let's grab our casserole and go back to the countertop. Remember our nice BC egg mixture? So the 6 large BC eggs, the 1.5 cups of milk, and that 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Also, I want to point out that we're only using a 1/2 teaspoon of salt in this whole casserole, 6 portions, because obviously the bacon is salty. And not only are we using the bacon, but the saltiness of the bacon in the bacon fat is going to go on the mushrooms, is going to go on the hash browns, so on and so forth. So you only need to add an extra 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And we're just going to slowly pour this over our bread, bacon, and cheese, okay? You're going to be putting it in the fridge overnight, so it will have a great opportunity to soak this all up. But I just want you to take care to make sure you're pouring it evenly over the bread. It sort of gets a head start of soaking this up. That has also cooled down the mushrooms now a little bit, and I can adjust them where I want. Great. Let's go have a look at the hash browns. All right, so just stir them occasionally. Again, we're looking for them to just start going brown, which they are. Okay, and that's all you need, because remember, they're going on top of the casserole, so these are going to get crispy in the oven as well. Let's go back over the countertop. Depending on how fatty your bacon is, you may want to use a slotted spoon to get these out as well. Okay, we're not looking to transfer all the residual bacon fat onto the casserole. We're just using that bacon fat, as I mentioned, to get the flavor in these components. So we're just going to scatter this on the top. Oh, it's starting to look good. And get them all in there. This gives a really nice crunchy coating on the top of your casserole. And it's like having toast, bacon, eggs, hash browns, all in one dish. 2 last ingredients. We're going to do another portion of cheddar cheese. This time it's going to be a 1/2 cup. Okay, and again, I'm going to be careful to make sure I put it on there evenly. Right into the corners, right to the edges. Then on top of that, I'm just going to put a little bit of fresh cracked pepper. You can just do it right from the pepper mill if you want. I'm adding about a 1/4 teaspoon. You can add a little bit more if you want to. But I didn't put this in the egg mixture with the salt. Remember when we did that? Because what happens usually with pepper grinds, they will sink down to the bottom. And then as you're pouring it over, you'll see all the peppers left in the mixing bowl. So you don't want to do that. So just take it, sprinkle it over. Again, if you want to use your pepper mill at this point, you can do that. The next step, what I want you to do is take your plastic wrap and wrap this. This needs to set in the fridge for at least a few hours, preferably overnight, just to get everything all happy, have that bread soak up the beautiful BC egg mixture. Then in the morning, all you do is you take it out of the fridge, you get your oven preheated to 350 degrees. A toaster oven works great if you have one because this is a very small vessel. And you bake it at 350 for 35 minutes. And you will see it go nice and brown and puffed up, and you will love it. I'll show you that next. All right, that's our 35 minutes in the oven. This is after it's sat, like I said. Oh, look at this. Wow, what a presentation. And I'm telling you, the aromas in my kitchen right now, you don't have to call anybody to the breakfast table. They're just gonna smell this and they're gonna come running, trust me. We do have to check to make sure it's done. And the easiest way to do that is to take a butter knife, stab in the center, and it should come out clean. That'll tell you that it's done. And you're gonna wanna let this sit for about 5 minutes before you dive in. I know it's gonna be hard because it smells so delicious, but just let it sit. It's going to sink down a little bit, which is fine. And that's gonna allow you to cut it into squares. And I'll show you that part next. All right, the wait is over. Man, I'm just so hungry smelling this the whole time. So because I'm using a non-stick pan, I have a plastic knife. If you haven't got one of these things, pick one up. They're pretty cool because you shouldn't be using a metal utensil in a non-stick pan. So I wanna cut this into 6 portions. What I do is I find the halfway mark this way first and just gently get in there and cut it in half. And then I just sort of eyeball it first. I want to make 2 cuts to make 3 and 3 on each of the halves. And then I take my knife, get in there, and do the same thing here. Now, because we sprayed the pan, you should have no problem getting it out, but I just take the knife and just run it around the edges just to be safe. Get a plate standing by. And the first one's always the hardest to get out. Let me see if I can do this. There we go. Beautiful. Oh, look at that. Now it's going to be really hot at first, but I'm just going to blow on it because I can't wait any longer. It smells so good. Wow. Everything you could want in a breakfast with bacon and eggs, hash browns, cheese, mushrooms is all in one dish. You are absolutely going to love this. Make sure you check out the recipe at bcegg.com and you'll find there a whole bunch of other egg tricks and tips. And this is Chef Dez signing out. Where are you getting your protein from?